Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. It is, in fact, 6:30 in the morning, and I'm on Chesil Beach. I'm up Portland end of the beach today in search of blonde rays. I've got this thing in my head. I really want to catch a big blonde ray this year. And this end of Chesil does produce some special fish. It does several over 20 pound. And I just thought, I'm going to give it a go. The plan was to come down here with Wayne today, and we were going to have a whole day of glorious fishing, catching loads of fish, make an amazing film, and be millionaires. Not sure about that bit, but sadly the weather's going to beat us. So we had glorious weather forecast for today for the last week solid, and then yesterday everything changed, and apparently by 12 o'clock today it is raining, which is rubbish, and a bit of wind coming in and stuff. I was a bit downhearted last night when I went to bed. There you go, look. I was a bit downhearted, so Wayne and I thought, let's just cancel. There's no point in going out and getting soaked and blown around and getting the camera gear wet and everything, so we'll just postpone it for another day. Being all grumpy, like I do when all my fishing trips get cancelled. I didn't sleep very well, and I woke up really early this morning, and I thought, sod it, I've got all my gear ready, my bait's ready in the freezer, I'm just going to go anyway. So I got out of bed at 3 in the morning, drove down here, and here I am. The night session, so up until first light, can be easily described with one word: dogfish. About 1 million dogfish. In fact, here's a montage of my dogfish. Doggy. Dog. Another doggy. Double dog. 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 First fish in daylight. What else? Woof woof. It did get a little crazy at times. A little bit like mine had actually the other day. Struggled to keep 2 rods in the water. There was more than one occasion where I had 1 rod not in the water because I just didn't have a rig baited up quick enough. It was in and out as fast as you can. But luckily, I did bump into 2 of my target species, which they grin on my face. However, they weren't quite the size I was after. Target species achieved, size not achieved. But here's what I managed. Well, target species, if not necessarily the target size. First blonde of the session. And it's a baby. Never mind, I'm sure Mummy and Daddy will be out there somewhere. Let's have a little look quickly whilst we got a small one on hand. See the way the spots are all the way to the very, very edge of the wing there? Unlike those spotties I was catching the other day. And they haven't got those obvious bullseye marks. They do sometimes have smaller little markings on them, which can be a little bit deceiving. But that's your blonde, and the other day was the spotties. But there we go. First one on the bank. Let's hope to get a little bit bigger, eh? Blondie number 2 of the session. Another small one. Another little female. Beautiful things. Just got the first light in the sky coming up, so it's going to be an absolutely beautiful morning. If I can keep catching these as the sun comes up, it's going to be a cracking day. Looking forward to this. Got to get a big one though. That's what I want. I want a big one. Like I said, blonde rays, not the size I want. Never mind. We're still here. We've got another hour till high water, and then I'll probably fish maybe an hour or 2 afterwards, and then I'll pack up and run home before the rain starts. Tactics ever so simple, just like my ray fishing everywhere it would appear. Exactly the same as I'd fish southbourne, that sort of thing. We've got sand eels, nice medium-sized sand eels. I have got a couple of anchovies left, and I've got a bit of squid as well, just to sort of wrap up with things if I want to. The trick to it is, like anywhere with ray fishing, is don't go big on your baits. There's me, the sand or squid wrap. Usual thing here, 2/0 pennel, circle hook at the top, on a bar rig. Really simple. And then launch it. Interestingly, One of my rays came at about sort of 80 yards, so not that, good cast still, but not a huge distance. And the other one came a little bit further. So I've stuck with that, got 2 rods out. Just sort of overhead lumping one, and then giving the other one a bit more energy and enthusiasm. Cover a bit more ground. Dogfish number 4,687. It's quite a gloomy grey day today. Definitely a little bit of rain in the air for later. Hopefully you can see where I'm set up in comparison to the edge of the water. I'm a fair way back. I'm probably 8 or 9, 10 yards back from the highest point of that lip, and then obviously the sea's another few yards behind that. But there's a big swell crashing in every now and again. It's a dangerous place if you get caught in that. So whatever you do, don't set up too close. My beach buddies all the way back there. You never ever be too careful when you're fishing this beach, or any beach really. Don't go putting yourself right on the edge of the water. It only takes one swell to come along and sweep the shingle under your feet and you're gone. No. To be fair, actually, since daylight. Hang on a second. That's why you don't set up too close to the water's edge. Sorry, go on. Bit of weight on here. Feels a bit wooferish. Yeah. All my rays so far tonight have come up on the surface and kited in quite easily, but this is staying down deep, so I'm guessing it's a dog. Probably first dog for about an hour and a half. That's a blessing. It's not a dog. Oh, it is a dog. It is a dog. It's a upside down, back to front, tangle dog. New species. What a mess he's made of that. Good news. Good news indeed. Probably not the sort of good news that we actually wanted. I just reeled in a cast with no fish. That is the first time since I've been here in 2.5 hours I haven't had a fish. Now, why is that good news? Well, the dogs hopefully have slowed up now. Hopefully they've stopped. So that means I can just give a little bit more time in the water, a bit more confidence to soak my baits for a little bit longer, and hopefully a ray will find my bait rather than a dog now. So I've gone from, sort of 5-10 minute cast as quick as you can possibly work in the darkness this morning, and now I'm going to drop it right back to I was going to say 20 minutes, but if doing as good a nick as that, I could go a little bit longer. I could be lazy, couldn't I? Go half an hour. No, I'll go 20 minutes because I'm not here for very long. The rain is coming in, so let's make the most of the time I've got here. We'll see. I'll do these 20 minutes. God, I'm indecisive. I'll do these 20 minutes. If they both come back in immaculate and fishless, then maybe I'll drop it to half an hour. Don't, whatever you do, if you reel in a bait that looks like that, it looks as good as when you cast it out, think, that'll be all right, I'll just chuck that back out. Don't do that. Put a fresh bait on. There'll be a lot more scent, lovely oozy fish attracting smelliness in a nice fresh bit of bait. What you can do is if you carefully take your bait off the hook, you can plock that to one side over there, And if you have one of those red letter days where you run out of bait, you can then go back to that as a backup bait afterwards. It's only ever a backup bait. Well, 20 minutes later, same result. So I'm going to give it the half-hour treatment now, which is good. Means I can kick back and relax a little bit. Hectic last night, it really was. I'm actually getting chilly. I've got all my layers on and fleece and everything. I'm running around catching all those dogs. I got really hot. So I took my fleece off. And now it's quietened off. I'm sat down, getting cold. Still, I've had 2 blondes. Really shouldn't complain. To be fair to Wayne, who is my Chesil guru, he did say the flood will fish a lot better than the ebb here. And we've had the flood, that has now stopped. So, perhaps, maybe, I've had the best of the fishing already. But I'm holding out hope. It's just one fish, doesn't it? Just one that double figure blonde. Never had a double figure blonde. I can't remember what my PB is. Either 6 something or 5 something, 5'11", something like that. It's not very big. It's a Southbourne fish. So for Southbourne, it was quite a decent fish. Because you don't get many blondes down there, other than a few little things. But I want a double. I'm happy with a 10, a scraper double would be fine. I don't want to go directly to £20. That would be nice, you know, if one happens to come along. I'm not going to say no. Double will do for starters. I suspect this will be part 1 of my blonde adventure. How am I going to pass that with my wife? I don't know. Just pop into Weymouth, see if I can bag a blonde, darling. Number 3. Number 3 of the session and my first daylight one. What a beaut. Still not a double, but I'm just happy to be catching them. Possibly the biggest of the day, actually. Juvenile male, this one. Beautiful things. Seeing as it's daylight, should we have a little closer look at it? Here she is then. Oh, look at that. The eyelashes are beautiful things. All the ways of that. But what I want to point out here is the spots. I know I mentioned it earlier, it's probably a little bit easier to see in daylight. So they're running all the way to the very, very edges of the wings. Whereas your spotties have a sort of a band, like an inch band around the outside where the spots don't quite go to. Spots slightly smaller as well than a spotty. And although they do have these sort of little, sort of small pale marks all over them, they don't have the sort of the 2 slightly more obvious bullseyes that the spotties have. But the spots at the edge of the wings, that's the easiest way of telling a blonde from a spotty. Some nasty little spikes on that look. Beautiful things, eh? 1 anchovy and 4 sand eels and a scratcher squid. It's all the bait I've got left. The dogs have annihilated me. I've gone through 2 packs of sand eels, a pack of those. Admittedly, I only bought 2 squid because I only tip off. Oh, use thin strips of it, but yeah, not a lot left. So even if I wanted to, I won't be staying late today. Which is probably just as well because I don't want to be wet. And what's the time now? It's 9:30. It's definitely gone quiet. I had that 1 blonde ray, which is obviously fantastic, and a dogfish. Really, that's been it since proper light. Let's have a quick look at the sand eel presentation again. So I've chopped the head off, I've chopped the tail off. These are just a bog standard medium sand eel. None of this rubbish about large and extra large and launch and all that sort of malarkey. Just don't need them. I'll thread that up as I would a worm. Just going to apply a little bit of bait elastic. Actually, I'm not even going to bother doing a squid wrap for this one. If you're not the biggest caster, then just make your bait smaller. The bigger the bait, the less aerodynamic it is. Easy for me to say. And also, the more bait you're just going to go through. these rays don't want enormous baits. There we go. Simple as that. A trimmed medium sandal. That's all you need. Let's repeat the process on my other rig, but this time with a little strip of squid. There we go, so thin strip of squid, about the same length as the sando. I've threaded on the sando, lay my tool alongside, so I'll sort of sandwich the tool between the two bits of bait. And just start whipping. So don't go too tight with the elastic. You can really, and you'll just end up cutting into the bait. So just nice and lightly. And I sort of go down from hook to other end of bait at approximately a 45-degree angle. And when I get to the end, I go back the other way at a 45-degree angle. And again, it's not too tight, just enough. And when I get to the end, cup turns around, snap it off. You don't have to tie off bait elastic or anything like that. It'll self-grip. Pull out the tool. Stick your pennel, if you're using it, in the top there. There we go. Beautifully presented squid and sando wrap. Good, no need for anything bigger than that. Let's do an anchovy bait as well, shall we? Seeing as you're here, so lopping off the whole head and a fair bit of the tail because I don't want anything too big. All these cut-offs, all of this stuff is going in a pile on my bait table. Because like I said, if I do run out of bait and the fish suddenly come back on the feed, I've got something. I've even got those the last few sort of sand eels and stuff that have been out there and not touched. It's not primo bait because it's been out in the water getting washed out, but it's bait. It's possibly better than nothing. Now admittedly I should have just bought more bait, but when Wayne said the dogs were active, I didn't quite realise how active they were. Let's trim that a little bit more. And there's a little bit of squid there just hanging around. I'll use that. So for this, with the anchovy, I'm going to wrap it inside out. So I'm going to lay the tool along the skin side, like so. Put your hook. Oh, fingers and thumbs, look. Hardest part about this anchovy is how oily it is. Hook, squid, and then just start wrapping. I'm going to turn that inside out and make it into a nice sausage of bait. Actually quite a big bit of anchovy, it's quite a big bait. I think it's me saying don't use big baits. All the way down with the elastic and then back up the other way. Snap it off, pull that bit out. And that, again, is a lovely streamlined, firm bit of bait. These anchovies are so oily. You know, annoyingly, I've only sort of really latched onto these anchovies in the last few months. And by all accounts, the season's over this year. So I bought as many as I could for the shop. But at some point this summer, they'll run out until end of the year, I guess, when they start again. Next winter, I'm buying thousands. It's a brilliant bait. But you can do the same. So that, as I've done there with the anchovy, you can do exactly the same with the sprat, which we've shown before. Herring, sardine, bluey, any of that oily fish, all makes really good bait. Well, more or less out of bait now, so just about time to call it a day. I've really enjoyed it. What's the time? Just gone 10. So that's good. So I'll have a nice early pack up and get away before the rain starts. It's been a long day already. Like I said, I was up at 3. That's dedication. Dedication or addiction, one of the two. Probably more addiction to fishing, isn't it? I was so excited about coming down here, and then when it got cancelled yesterday, I was like, no! When I woke up early, I was like, I'm going fishing. So what did we learn? What did we learn today? I've learned I can catch blonde rays off Chesil Beach. I just can't catch a big one. I will. I'll keep going. This is the start. This is going to be the 2023 Big Blonde Hunt Part 1. Watch this space.